Welcome back to Autism Live. We are live with Bonnie Yates. She's special education attorney with the law firm of Hirji and Chow here in Southern California in Culver City. And Bonnie is answering your questions, just reminding all of you that Bonnie is answering them in a general nature. And if you need more support, you should find a lawyer or an advocate in your area. Bonnie, you like to recommend the COPA website, correct?
I do. COPAA.net is a nationwide directory of special education attorneys.
Wonderful. So Bonnie, our next question is, what do you do when you have a school psychologist who thinks she invented autism and she doesn't, right? And she doesn't agree with ABA. She told me all of the kids in the studies for ABA were misdiagnosed. And this mom says all of them. With a exclamation point. Fortunately, my son's teacher is great and wants to learn. The problem is the school psych keeps sticking her nose in. She's all about accountability and not positive reinforcement. I'd love it if I could get her off of my son's team.
You know, it's hard to do. I had a occupational therapist attack me after an IEP meeting, and she didn't put her hands on me, but she got in my face and she threatened me, and I wrote a letter to the district about it, asked them to remove her from the IEP team, and it almost made them want to leave her on more. So I'm not really sure that you're going to be able to disqualify the school psychologist. You can write a letter and you can try and you can ask for another psychologist to be on the case instead. And you give your reasons why, because it is really offensive what she's saying. But they may not honor it, and so you may have to work around her. I don't know whether she did your child's annual or triennial evaluation. If she did, that's another reason they're going to want to hold on to her. If she hasn't, and maybe you've got a simpatico principal, you can get him to make the change. I think the way to deal with the teacher is to tell the teacher that you really appreciate her attitude, that she's open and willing to learn, and that there have been over the years different philosophies about autism, and feelings do run high, but the validated research is the Lovaas study and its subsequent kind of reiterations. And you can tell her that there's a lot of technical information available on the internet about, best practices. Here in California, the Regional Center did something in 2002. No, that was more about screening. I would buy your teacher a copy of Let Me Hear Your Voice. That's not a book I've talked about on this program. It's an old book. It's about how ABA works. It's a very compelling story, Let Me Hear Your Voice by Catherine Maurice. I'd probably give that to the teacher and tell her that it's a really good, compelling story. It explains a lot about autism. Maybe it's something she'd be willing to try reading in her spare time. Those of us that read it finished it in one day because, we were just sort of glued to the page. And then I might try to find one, if I could, one definitive article or something on Google Scholar about autism and autism treatment. If you find something good, I wish I had something. I don't right now for you. I need to actually do some digging in that regard. But kind of a meta-analysis or something. And you could just tell her, look, I respect the school psychologist. I know, even though you don't. And, she's had a lot of training, but reasonable minds could differ. And I've brought you stuff from some other really qualified people. All I'm asking you is to give my information, the same airplay that you're giving hers. And I think that's probably as good as it's going to get.
I will say, Bonnie, that a couple of years ago, because we had so many requests that, sometimes it was a family saying, I need to go and talk somebody in the school into using ABA, or sometimes it was dad saying mom isn't on board with ABA, or mom saying dad or ex-husband isn't on board, or my mother-in-law. We had so many requests that I had somebody pull the 6 seminal studies that would sort of cover almost everything that somebody, in general, that somebody would have to convince, if you need to send it to your insurance company or, to your school or whatever. So I have those and can share those with anybody. And every card office, if you're close to a card office, they have a parent bulletin board where all of those are posted. But you can write to me for them if somebody needs a study to take. And there's 6 of them, and And they cover about everything, including the difference between ABA and doing an ABA intervention or doing a school-based intervention. There's one of the studies that compares ABA school and the TEACH program.
That's great.
So just to say that we've got those.
You know what? I'm going to ask you to send those to me,
I
because
will.
one of the things that I'm trying to do is introduce the new lawyers in the office to like what is autism, and it's kind of compared to some of the other disabilities, it's kind of huge in terms of what's required to understand like all the manifestations of autism, much less the treatment. So that sounds like a really handy thing that you've done, and I certainly would love to.
We will get that off to you.
Have a chance to look at it.
Veronica, if you're listening, send that to Bonnie now.
What was our